my name is Kevin Castro. I'm a realtor with Vase Realty. And, I'm a real estate agent and I serve first time home buyers, homeowners who want to sell their home, and investors.
Oh,
Mhm.
awesome. I can't wait to learn more. So, take me back to how you got started in all of this. Tell me how you got to where you are today.
Well, it was a bit of a journey, really, because my dad, he was a contractor. And so he would go to visit people in different homes, help them improve their homes. And so I kind of had that. I'm not even sure what you call it really, but I always had that thing, we'll say it for lack of better terms, that thing, that desire to kind of be in different people's home, or that attachment, just learning about who they are and how they live their lives. You learn a lot when you visit people's homes because it's where they live. It's how they decorate their place, what inspires them. So that kind of sparked the interest. But then, I worked in sales for a little bit. So, when you put that and sales together, that's kind of how I got into the real estate gig. So, yeah.
Very cool. So, I know you've spent most of your life in the DMV area. How has growing up here shaped the way you connect with clients and guide them through buying or selling in such a diverse market?
Great question. So, growing up in the DMV area, you're really like aware of a lot of activities, certain trends that are going on, changes throughout the neighborhood. So, you're able to guide people through those changes. And the more time you spend studying the market, the more you're able to kind of guide your clients on what those changes mean, what those changes are, and how to navigate through all those changes. So, and plus, DMV is a pretty diverse area. Crystal City in VA is different than Germantown, Maryland, let's say. And so you kind of, again, you pick up on different things. But I love it, because as diverse as those communities are, neighborhoods are, it's all connected, with the metro, the 495. So I love it. Yeah.
Absolutely. Our area, I think it's so interesting because you can be in the city if you want in DC, but you can also get that nature kind of vibe too, just an hour away.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. I mean, just on our way here, my way here, I'm like passing by through all the trees and stuff. I'm like, whoa, this is a nice drive.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, like you said, it's very, very different. You get that, but again, it's not. It's only a drive away. Yeah.
Absolutely. And so you started out helping your father in the contracting world before transitioning into real estate. How did that hands on experience influence your understanding of homes and the needs of your clients today?
To answer that quick, one part of that quickly, one of the things that it helped me out with was that I'm able to identify certain things with properties and say, hey, look, this is what you're gonna want to do. This is what you should look out for. I always tell them, I'm no expert because I'm not with the contracting side, but I'm able to get a good eye on the property condition and kind of let them know ahead of time, like ahead of, let's say, the home inspection, like, hey, these are some things that you may want to look out for. It's given me an advantage over an agent, let's say, doesn't really have familiarity with that. Also, you kind of learn to really l- allow people to tell you what it is that they're looking for, especially in this business, in this industry. You have to really listen to what the client's needs are. And, they may want something, but with your experience, you can suggest something else like, hey, we can try to do things like this and that. So that's how that's kind of helped me shape my customer experience or help me to help out my clients.
Sure, kind of sprinkling in that expertise you have.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Thank-
So, coming from that retail background, you mentioned that you love helping people and creating great experiences. How have those customer service skills carried over into your real estate career?
so you definitely want to make everybody feel comfortable. So the retail experience, what it's taught me really is, again, to really listen to somebody. When I just to kind of get a little bit more into detail, I worked at T-Mobile, so people would come in and say, "Hey, I would want this and that," and then you kind of tell them, "Okay, well, based on what you want, wait, based on like what you're looking for, we can offer you this solution." And so that's what I took is to really kind of, again, listen to people, listen to what they're looking for, and help them navigate through all this because real estate is a big game. You have so much news about the interest rates, the property prices, different changes in neighborhoods, how all that affects you. So it's really just what that help experience has helped me do is just really to navigate everything that kind of goes on.
Okay, perfect. And going off of that, clients often say you make the home buying process feel simple and stress free. What are some ways you help buyers, especially first timers, feel more confident and informed?
Well, one thing that I really like to do is before we do anything, I sit down with my clients and I give them a consultation and I say, okay, this is what the process is going to look like. This is what you can expect that will happen. And, that first meeting that I have with buyers really kind of sets the tone for them because there's a lot of emotions that go into the first time home buying experience. And sometimes, and I don't blame them because this happens to me as well, but you kind of let your emotions take over when making a decision, and that can kind of not lead into good things. So, what I try to say is, okay, look, let's learn about the process, talk about the process, ask me any questions that you may have. And so they're more aware of what's going to happen and they're more comfortable. And that's how I try my best to ease the whole process.
Absolutely, and just having that good communication and seamless trust from beginning to end is key. Real estate can be, and going into that just a little bit deeper, real estate can be one of the biggest emotional and financial decisions someone makes. How do you help clients balance that excitement with the pressure of finding the right home?
I acknowledge their feelings. First and foremost, you have to acknowledge how they feel and say, okay, how do you feel? And then you say, well, you feel this way because of what you just said, because it is a big purchase, because, they're already thinking like 10 years ahead. Well, this is where I'm going to have my family, kids. This is where my friends are going to come over and all that good stuff. And that's fine. But then again, we say, okay, we want to talk about what it is that you're really looking for, and we stick to the process. So we say, okay, one of the things that I like to do is, tell my clients, hey, create a list of the 10 things that you really want and that you really need. And no matter how you feel about a house, whether it looks a certain way, if this house fits into that criteria, then that's your house. And so we can kind of, I don't want to say take the emotions away, but we can kind of refocus on what the goal is and say, okay, everything's going, I feel my feelings are all over the place here, but I have structure. And that's really what my goal is to kind of provide them structure and take the emotions away and say, okay, this is what we need. This is what we got. Here we go.
I love that, having their goals in sight.
Yeah, definitely.
Perfect. And you also work with investors who are looking to grow their portfolios. What are some strategies you use to help them identify smart opportunities and maximize their returns?
Great question. So again, it always starts with the first conversation and say, okay, what is it that you're trying to do? Trying to make the most money? Are you trying to build properties that you can then sell or rent? And then based on that conversation, we fit them with different kinds of like hard money lenders that will allow them to do either or. We talk about strategies like where properties have been home prices have been going up, where there's opportunities in the MLS to find properties that they can fix and flip. But again, it really is just having a conversation with investors and saying, okay, what is most important to you, and then they kind of tell me, well, not kind of, but they really tell me what they're looking for, and based off of that, we can look for opportunities.
That's great. And as a realtor with Bayes Realty, how does being part of a strong collaborative team help you provide an elevated experience for your clients?
Great question. So having a strong team that can back me and support me is really key because sometimes there's things that I may not know right off the bat, but if I can rely on my team or let's say my leader broker, then I have that sense of security that I can go with to my clients and give them peace of mind. And as you mentioned earlier, that's really one of my goals is to really make things as simple as possible. And having a team that has had experience, they've been there, done that, I can kind of go ahead and relay that back to my clients and say, hey, look, this isn't as scary as it looks. This is a solution that we can go about this particular thing, let's say. And then, we go from there. Just for an example, if I can give this example, one of my clients, their property taxes shot up from like let's say 4,000 to like $10,000. And they're like, "Oh my god, what's going on? I have to sell my house. I can't pay my property taxes because it's affecting my monthly payments." But, you know, I and I didn't know what happened. I had asked to look at the monthly statement. And I went back to my broker and I said, "Hey, this happened. Why did it happen?" And, it was just simply a simple mistake that the county had made. They designated the property from a property of a residential to a vacant property, and that's what happened. Yeah, so luckily they were able to fix it and it wasn't so scary. Just that moment, that was scary for them. And this was a whole year after they had purchased their property. So they had felt really like, I would say, like really disappointed, because it's like, oh, wow, they're kind of still living on that hype that I just bought my first house. And then boom, oh my gosh, now I can't pay my house. But again, having that experience, that leadership, really helps me to help my clients because the more you know, well, actually, I don't know what to say is the more you know, or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I know I definitely get where you're coming from. And I like to say, especially in situations like this, teamwork makes the dream work,
Yeah, for
right?
sure. Definitely.
And technology and AI are changing the real estate industry quickly. How are you using these tools to make your process more efficient and your clients' experience even better?
Ooh, okay, cool. So everyone says AI is going to replace everything, right? No, I'm just kidding. So AI, the way we're using it is to be more efficient, to be more responsive, faster. I can't be everywhere all at once. So let's say I get a text. We have technologies in place that can respond to the text message, to a phone call, and alert me. Not just alert me, set appointments in place for my clients. So we're using it as tools to kind of make everything run more efficiently. Again, whether it's setting up appointments, doing simple emailing, things like that. But it's to be more efficient. The end result is for our clients to say, okay, these are guys that no matter, what's going on, we can always get a response in a timely manner versus having an agent that you send a text at, let's say, 9 a.m. and you don't get a response until 6. That's a whole day that has passed by and you might miss an opportunity. So back to your question, we want to make sure that we're not missing any opportunities with clients and that our clients really feel valued because when you don't respond to a client, they start to feel that. So we don't ever want to make our clients feel like we don't care about them or we're not attentive. We're very attentive, but again, some things just get in the way. But with AI, using those tools, we can make sure that they're being attended to.
It's fascinating the growth of AI and how it's changing within the real estate industry. And I think it's amazing that you guys are able to use it as a tool to help make the whole process just even more seamless.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, all of it is really a tool. I know there's people who are doomsayers. They're like, oh well, again, every AI is going to replace everything. But that's what they said about the internet, about all these websites that provided the houses online. Like, oh well, now you're not going to need an agent. Now you can just go online and pick your own house. But the agents that succeeded in that boom, they said, oh well. actually, no, this is makes it more efficient. Now I don't have to look for my home. They can take care of that part themselves. A colleague of mine from Coldwell Banker, when I used to work with Coldwell Banker, they had mentioned that they used to look at books and they would have to go through these listings, page by page and pick out which one they wanted for their client or whichever fit their client's needs. So, but now you can just do it all on your phone. If you like a property, you can share it to me, the agent, and I say, okay, you like this one? Which other ones do you like? And we set appointments. And so, really, it's just, again, just using these tools to be more efficient and, just get a faster response rate.
Efficiency is the best way you can describe it. I mean, really, it's amazing. And I know you're planning an upcoming estate seminar focused on helping families pass property down to the next generation. What inspired that idea, and why do you think it's such an important topic right now?
Great question. So, a lot of my first time home buyers, fortunately, have bought their properties. And so they're thinking about the next step, which is maintaining the property, maybe buying a second one to expand their portfolio. And then a lot of them, the idea kind of struck like, hey, how do I pass this on to my kids with paying the least amount of taxes? Everybody's heard of trusts and what it means. So that I took those conversations from my clients and said, okay, well, why not create a seminar for not just my clients, but this will be open to the public about handing off, excuse me, the title, handing off your property or properties from yourself to your children. And I work with great title companies who are always giving me information. So it really is just based off my client's need. That's where that inspiration came from.
It sounds like such a great opportunity just to get that knowledge and in details that people are seeking. So that's wonderful.
Yeah, thank you. Hopefully, we get a lot of people coming. So
I know there will be. I'm excited for you. How does the culture at Bays Realty align with your own values when it comes to service, integrity, and building long term relationships with clients?
we at Vase Realty, we really care about how we make people feel during during this transition period of whether you're selling your home or you're buying your first home. So we care about how not only we come off, but how we're able to simplify things. And that's something that we share and we talk about. Okay, well, what is it that you did that was successful in this period? What is it, some things that we could have worked on? We have that open communication with all the agents and we share our experiences and we kind of bounce ideas off of each other to better serve our clients and get more ideas off each other and say, okay, well, I tried this, and this. Maybe you should too. Or, hey, this didn't really go well for me. Maybe avoid that. So I'm really bad with naming like the actual word for it, but that's what we do. We really bounce off ideas. We have an open communication. I always tell my coworkers that they can call me whenever, and they do, and I do too. I call not only my broker, but I call my colleagues and say, "Hey, look, what's going on with this?" And again, we bounce different ideas, whether it's how to serve our clients, or maybe seminars, or maybe I think the last event that we did and that we were bouncing off ideas, I was in Winchester and I did a a Latin food festival and we had a booth and everything. But again, we do that again because we're able to talk to each other openly and bounce ideas off each other. So, and again, from that, we can take all that good stuff and pour it into our clients.
Yeah, I think that's just a great business model, especially for getting that end result for the client. So, the real estate industry is becoming increasingly competitive. What do you believe is the key to building longevity and maintaining strong client relationships in the business?
I think you have to stay connected with your clients. You have to stay connected to all your clients as hard as it may be. You have to reach out to them and see like, hey, how are you? Try to be on top of mind without being so salesy. Like I don't want to call a client and say, "Hey, do you have referrals?" No, you want to give them value. So you want to say, "Hey, look, you know, we you're a homeowner, you have children, we're going to do a seminar where you get to learn how you're able to pass off your property from yourself to your children if that's something that interests you. Come through. Oh, and by the way, like, do you have anybody that you may not know of?" So really is so to get back to your question is what's important is for us to stay connected to our clients and try to figure out different ways to reach out, whether it's social media, internet, internet, boosting internet. I forgot what it's called, marketing.
Sure.
We'll call it that. But yeah, just again, making sure that you have that good client relationship because I feel like even with technology, word of mouth is still the best referral, because one person could know 5 people that either going to buy or sell. And based on going back to what we talked about earlier, depending on how you make them feel, they give you that referral and say, okay, well, Kevin, he's really great. He'd help me with this. So again, just having that awesome client relationship, I think that's key to staying in the business long term.
Got it. That's amazing. It also seems like networking is just a really big thing in this industry. Can take you very far.
For sure. And so that's actually a great point. I think my networking pals are gonna hate me for not mentioning that. So shout out to you guys. I'm sorry. So yeah, you definitely want to have a lot of networking friends, whether it's people in the lending industry, title industry, or home inspection industry, because they can offer things that may pop out, whether it's assistance with down payment programs, whether it's knowledge or experience in title transfer, speed of process, how quick the title company is able to move. Those are other very important relationships to have, again, to stay in the business long term, because a lot of companies do different things. Some of them help you with your open house, and that builds exposure, that expands your brand. Man, I can't believe I didn't think about that. You're
You're
really awesome.
good.
So,
Thank you.
yeah, no, I think I'm actually maybe I'm doing some things wrong. But yeah, so yeah, definitely you want to put your brand out there. And again, having those relationships really help.
Oh, they're
Yeah.
key for sure. And looking ahead, what excites you the most about the future as you continue to grow, serve the surrounding communities, and make lasting impacts through your work with Bayes Realty?
Hmm. A lot. I'm interested about a lot of things, not just how communities are going to look different, with all the construction that's going on, all the plan changes that have been like in DC, and they're going to put the Washington Commanders stadium right there. The purple line that's going to go through Maryland, some parts of DC, I think. I'm sorry. So all those things are going to bring changes. I'm excited to see how the changes turn out, whether it's people moving from one community to another or just people again like just choosing where to live based on these changes. I think that's going to be interesting to see. I think what I'm also interested in is how AI really is going to make things a whole lot smoother. I think there'll probably be a point where you might just be talking to like let's say a secretary, a complete AI secretary, where they answer the phone calls, set the appointments, and then notify the agent. I think that's possible too, maybe in like 5, 10 years. And that's really it, like just again, just really excited to see what kind of changes happen and what those changes do and the technology that we'll have in the future.
Absolutely. So many fun, new, exciting things happening in your industry. So, as we wrap up, is there anything you would like to add that I haven't touched on today?
Yeah, I mean, I just want to quickly, mention that the for the buyers, this is a special one for you guys. The buyers market, the market is definitely more in favor of the buyers. depending on which areas. Some of the listings have taken longer to sell. So that presents an opportunity for especially first time home buyers, where, if you can get a fortunate situation, you might be able to get a price reduction, and excuse me, and you might also be able to get the seller to help you pay for, if not all, some of your closing costs. And on top of that, there's a lot of lenders out there that are offering down payment assistance programs. So it's a good opportunity. I know the rates are a little bit higher, so there's a lot of hesitancy to buy. If you can get down payment assistance, a price reduction, and closing cost help, I think you're looking at a real big grand slam here, especially because, we're looking at the rates coming down in the next few months. That's the hope that's going around. And if it does, you already have a property that you can just refinance, versus when the rates come down, now you're going to have to compete again with everybody, out there. So, just want to make buyers aware of that opportunity and definitely make the most of it.
It's a great piece of information to keep in the back of everyone's head.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Well, thank you so much, Kevin, for joining me on the podcast today. It was a pleasure to hear your story, an inspiring one at that.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I wish you the best of luck in all that you do in the future. It was great speaking with you.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate you having me on. It's really awesome. I love the studio, by the way.
Thank you.